Good evening, waifus and husbandos, and welcome to the very first ever WaifuCast SoloCast. Now, what is this? Well, if the title of the video didn't clue you in as to what the video is about, let me still tell you what this is basically going to be. This is me, basically, more or less on my own time, giving my thoughts on a subject. And this particular time, I felt it would be prudent to discuss Dragon Ball FighterZ. Because that is a game that I'm looking forward to a lot. And a lot of people are looking forward to it. And the reason why I'm looking forward to it is because it's a real-ass competitive Dragon Ball Z fighter. This isn't Dragon Ball Z Budokai, this isn't Tenkaichi, this isn't Xenoverse. This is a real Dragon Ball Z fighting game for fighting gamers like me. If you were the type of person that liked the Naruto Ninja Storm games, then Xenoverse is probably your Dragon Ball fighter of choice, but for me, Xenoverse is a fun casual romp to destroy stuff and go female Super Saiyan, but it's not a fighting game, not to me. I want to preface this with, even though I'm super looking forward to it, that doesn't mean I'm planning on fucking taking it super seriously, going to tournaments, like fucking trying to get sponsored. That's not really what I look for. There's a very good possibility that I won't even like the game on a gameplay level. It's very possible because me personally, as much as I'm a fan of like the Marvel games as games, I was never into team-based fighting. Even when Tekken Tag Tournament 2 came out, I'm a huge Tekken fan, didn't like it strictly because of the team elements. So it's very possible that I won't even get good at the game on a level that's anywhere above scrub with a little bit of knowledge. But I'm still looking forward to this game just on principle, the fact that I'm a fan of Dragon Ball Z, and I really want to play it just so that I can have a competitive Dragon Ball Z game that if one day I do want to take it seriously, I know that that's going to be an option. As opposed to like, Xenoverse, where it's like, if I'm like, man, I want to get good at this game, and it's just fucking, it's not for that. It's really not. So, what this video is, I made a list here of basically a prediction of the roster of the game. And obviously, I don't think all these are getting in, but the list is essentially all the characters that I think have a potential of being in it. So basically, like, just these characters are, I think, the strongest possible contenders, and all of them have like asterisks next to their name because it really depends on what direction they're going with in the game. And by direction, I mean, judging by the currently known roster they got 9 characters. Right now, we for sure have Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Final Form Frieza, Perfect Cell, Majin Buu, the Fat Buu, Future Trunks, Piccolo, and Krillin. All these characters are from Dragon Ball Z. But the thing that throws a wrench in it is the fact that Frieza has an install where he goes into his golden form, which is a form he takes after the series goes into Super. Now, there's a couple different ways you can look at this. You can say, well, they might have super characters, in which case Golden Frieza will fit right in, and there's a whole potential list of characters that are featured in Dragon Ball Super that can get in. Or you could say, well, if we're going with just Dragon Ball Z, because if you look at Dragon Ball FighterZ, the Z at the end of FighterZ is heavily emphasized. So you can still explain away Golden Frieza and even Beerus as being in Dragon Ball Z because they were in movies. But if you look at that, then you're also discussing the possibility of having Dragon Ball Z movie characters in the game. Or you can just go completely 100% off the rails and just say the only reason that they're in, that Golden Frieza's in, is because he was in Dragon Ball Z and also canon. Whereas not all the movies are canon, which is also a thing. But we don't know what direction they're taking it yet, because with the exception of Golden Frieza being a hint at things to come, we don't 100% know what they're going to do. Golden Frieza could be the only character that's represented, that's representing anything past the Buu saga. It could easily be just Dragon Ball Z, but we don't know that yet. So those first 9 characters, they're set in stone. We know they're in the game. For now, the next step, rather, I'm going to talk about the possible duplicate characters. And what I mean by that is characters that are the same as a character we already have, but different in appearance and or gameplay. And the reason why I want to bring up duplicates is because duplicate characters is a huge existing element in Dragon Ball games, but it's always in casual Dragon Ball games. So you're like, well, what about a real fighting game? Would they really waste character slots on the same character? Yes, especially in the case of Arc System Works, because there's 3 different ways they can handle some of these duplicates. Okay, and one of these ways they're already doing in the form of Frieza and Golden Frieza. So the first duplicate, let me get right into it, is, well, not duplicate, rather a way to handle transformations, is an install system, which they already have in the form of Frieza. Out of those 9 characters we have, only one of them is confirmed to have an install, and that's Frieza. They already stated, ArcSys stated that they don't want to go heavy on characters with installs, and that's totally understandable, because the thing is, Dragon Ball Z's got so many transformations. It's totally understandable how they're not going to have just a character, like every character having an install. But that doesn't mean, like, say we end up getting 30 characters. It's not a stretch to think that 5 to 7 of those characters, even up to 10, could have installs. Maybe 10 is a little bit much, but I'd say 5 could be a thing. 5 to 7 could be realistic for in the case of installs. In the case of installs that we have yet to see, it's obvious that for now they're going with the Super Saiyan forms for the Saiyans. You know, we got Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Super Saiyan Future Trunks, as well as Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, because that's his most iconic version. But there's no guarantee that those characters are 100% complete. Because you think about it, the game right now in its current state is only about 20, maybe 25% finished, right? So who's to say that these characters that we already have are 100% done? Just because they're in a playable state doesn't mean they're finished. Goku and Vegeta could easily have a Super Saiyan Blue install in the future of the game, in the final release of the game. Easily possible. Future Trunks could have his Super Saiyan Rage form that was shown off in Super. Also possible as installs. But let's assume, you know, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. Let's go forward with the other possibilities I was noting that ArcSys themselves have done. But just, you know, examples of ArcSys-based installs. Obviously, Golden Frieza, he's confirmed. Soul from Guilty Gear has Dragon install. Bang from BlazBlue had the Furin Kazan. Ragna from BlazBlue has Blood Cane, as well as, like, starting in BlazBlue Chrono Phantasm, every character has an install in the form of their overdrive. So that's an example of Arxis doing installs, but we really don't need to talk about that too much because, again, installs are confirmed for this game because Frieza has one. So let's get on to the next one, how they can handle duplicates, or how they have handled duplicates. We're talking about straight up duplicate characters, like taking another character slot. Here's your character. It's the same character, but he plays the same, maybe looks the same. Again, Arxis have done this. They have had characters that look the same visually or are the same character at different points in their lives, but play differently and thus justify another character slot. You look at Guilty Gear. It has both Soul and Order Soul. Both the same character, just in different points of their lives, and they both play differently. You also have Kai and RoboKai. Obviously, they're not the same character, but RoboKai is a robot made to look like Kai, and they both have different play styles. They look extremely similar. The only difference between the two is the fact that RoboKai he looks like a robot, but he's dressed in the same clothes. You know, he's got the same fighting stance. They're the same, except they're different. In BlazBlue, you got quite a few actually. And like I'm reaching a bit here as well, but it kind of works because like if we're making duplicates in DBZ based on transformations, then these will fit too. You look at the Murakumo clones, you got Lambda, Nu, and Lambda and Nu. They're an example of a Kai and RoboKai, where they have the same battle stance, they look the same, and they even have a lot of the similar moves, but they still play completely different because they have different properties. They're probably the best example of a Ryu and Ken type clone because like even their drive acts similar. Like they both have swords and shit, or sword shooting. But you've also got a more direct example of what I'm talking about in the form of Noelle and Mu 12, because Mu is essentially a transformation that Noelle undergoes. And Mu herself is basically another example of a Murakumo clone, because she has the same battle stance, though looks the most different out of the other two, but still looks similar. Another example of characters who are the same but in a different time of their life, you got Terumi and Hazama. The same character, except at different times of their life, and they both play differently. So those are also possibilities. Another possibility that Arxis has been known to do, or not necessarily known, but another possibility of what they could do, is I'm going to call it a groove system. Basically, it's a character that takes up the same slot, so it doesn't take up a different character slot, but it is that same character where you can pick the type of system that they are going to use. And basically what I mean by that is, well, not what I mean by that, but an example of that Arxis themselves have used is their Persona 4 Arena game. Each character, at least in the update to the game, not the original vanilla game, but the update to the game, each character had their original form and their shadow form. They didn't take up different character slots, but they were different enough in gameplay to each have their separate, place on a tier list. Like, they weren't the same. They had different skill sets. They might have similar moves, but they had different skill sets and different power, different abilities, different viability. So these are all different ways that they can handle transformations and duplicate characters in the Dragon Ball Z universe. So the duplicate characters I'm looking at here, first of all, early Dragon Ball Z Goku. The reason why I think he's going to make it in, or why I think he could make it in some way, shape, or form, is because twofold. One, Goku needs somehow to use the Spirit Bomb. That needs to be a move in this game, because the Spirit Bomb is an icon. It's the move that killed the final boss of Dragon Ball Z, before it got revived, obviously. it was his super move. Like, it even killed the final boss of GT. Like, we're not talking about GT right now, but the Spirit Bomb is a move that people will want to have. But he can only use it in his base form. He can only use it effectively, rather, in the classic Spirit Bomb fashion in his base form. So our current Goku that's in the game can't use the Spirit Bomb. Another thing is Kaioken. I'm thinking if base Goku makes it in as either a separate character slot or a separate groove, then he'll be in his base form, where he can use the Spirit Bomb, all that good stuff. He might have the Power Pole, and I say that because if we're going to use, like, even if we're just using like grooves or different character slots, you're going to need a way to differentiate the two the Gokus from each other. And instead of just saying what they are, you could use like Dragon Ball Goku for base form Goku with Kaioken, even though like he didn't learn Kaioken until Z, I know that, but Dragon Ball Goku could be his name, and that's to represent like late Dragon Ball, early Dragon Ball Z Goku before he went Super Saiyan. He could have Kaioken as an install, or he can use it maybe exclusively during his special move. But I think it's possible because like they're changing stuff when they're in an install. Because I guess Frieza, when he's in his Golden Frieza form, he has different moves, like not 100% different moves, but he's got different things he can do. So the way I'm looking at it is that Dragon Ball Goku could make use of the Power Pole in his normals to kind of help him differentiate himself between the other possible Gokus. And in his base form, his level 1 super could be the Super Kamehameha, just like it normally is. And his level 3 super, while in base form, could be Spirit Bomb. I think that makes sense. Maybe. Another possibility to differentiate him from normal Goku, he could just have 2 Spirit Bombs. And what I mean by that is level 1 super could be the faster Spirit Bomb like he wanted to use on Vegeta back in the Saiyan Saga. It could be that Spirit Bomb, and then his level 3 is the Super Spirit Bomb, the big one he used to kill Boo. And then he could use Kaioken as an install, and while he's in Kaioken, his level 1 super will be a Kamehameha, similar to the other Gokus, and his level 3 super could be the times 20 Kaioken Kamehameha that he used on Frieza before he went Super Saiyan when he was in his final form. That's a really big move, and it's similar to it would be very similar to kind of how he is in his regular DBZ Super Saiyan form, honestly, which would be kind of interesting. I don't know how they do that, but it's plausible. Like, they could just make it so that he always just uses his Kamehameha as level 1, Spirit Bomb as level 3 with Kaioken as an install. That might be, like, where just Kaioken just powers up his basic abilities and acts as a traditional install instead of giving him new shit. That's possible, too. So we call that Dragon Ball Goku. And in the case of that being Dragon Ball Goku, if that works, then our current Goku that's already in the game with Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 3 as a level 3 super, just a super attack instead of actually, an install, we would call that Dragon Ball Z Goku, because that's where he started getting more into the formula of Dragon Ball Z. My next possible duplicate, which also, just like base Goku, could work as either a groove for Goku or a straight-up different character slot, is Super Saiyan Blue Goku from Super. And the thing is, again, if we're talking about this version of Goku, then this version of Goku already can make it in, because even if we're just using the only canon to Z but not Super argument, then we can still put Super Saiyan Blue Goku in there, because Golden Frieza is already in the game. So anything that Golden Frieza, you could explain that away with, you could explain away Super Saiyan Blue Goku with, because they appeared in the same movie. So I think there's a huge possibility that in some way, shape, or form, Super Saiyan Blue Goku will make it in the game. If he does, I would call it Dragon Ball Super Goku. So we'd have DB Goku DBZ Goku, and DBS Goku. 3 Gokus I know is a lot, but if they handle it in the groove system, then I think that would be easily plausible. Having different character slots might be a bit much, but again, like, it's Goku. I think if anything, they could afford having multiple Gokus. Again, it's possible because if we're just talking about the things that qualify Golden Frieza, then Super Saiyan Blue Goku wouldn't have had Kaioken yet. So it's possible that they could just modify the current Goku we have in the game already to have an install to be Super Saiyan Blue. That's also a possibility. But either way, I 100% believe that Super Saiyan Blue Goku is going to make it in the game. If he's a separate character, another possibility is that it could just be a palette swap. You know, it could just be a different outfit for regular Goku, and they could make that work easily. If they don't want to have a bunch of different duplicates or even duplicate Goku at all, he could not have that Dragon Ball form Goku and just have Super Saiyan Blue Goku be an alternate outfit for the Goku we currently have. That would mean he would fight in his Super Saiyan Blue form, the same way regular Goku fights in his Super Saiyan form. And then his level 3, where Goku normally goes Super Saiyan 3 to do a Kamehameha, Super Saiyan Blue, his outfit, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, would go Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken and do the Kamehameha in that same way. That way, you wouldn't even need to make a brand new character. But if he was a separate character, we're definitely going to see Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken make an appearance somehow. And if he was a separate character, or even if he was a groove, we would call that his Dragon Ball Super form. Next duplicate, I believe, will make it in 100% is Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. And I've used every single argument that I already need to make for why I think he's going to make it in the game somehow. But again, he might just be an install for our current Vegeta. He might be a different groove. And he doesn't even necessarily need to be. But he could be. Because like if you look at it, the current Vegeta we have now, he's kind of missing a lot of stuff. He has his Final Flash, and he has the Big Bang Attack, and those are important. But he doesn't have Gallic Gun. And you could say, well, maybe they're going to do a base form, early Dragon Ball Z Vegeta 2. I don't think they'll go that far. If they're going to include the Gallic Gun, he'll use it in his Super Saiyan Blue form because they brought that back for Super. So it's very possible that that'll be what he does, as Super Saiyan Blue. But I believe no matter what, we're going to see Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta. Some way, shape, or form, it's going to happen. Now, these next 2 duplicates, these next 3 duplicates, I believe 100%, if they make it in the game, will be separate character slots. Because they're all different from their current incarnations. And first off, we got Adult Gohan. I believe 100% Adult Gohan will somehow make it in the game. Just to be in his Mystic form. He will fight in his Mystic form the same way Gohan is always in Super Saiyan 2 in his current build. Adult Gohan will always be in Mystic form, so he'll always have, the black hair. And maybe he'll use like a Super Kamehameha, I don't know. I'm not even, like I said, I was 100% sure. He might not even make it in the game, honestly. Like, if there was any main character that wasn't in the game, I'd say Adult Gohan was a possibility. I do believe he'll make it in, but there's a chance he won't. I'm not going to eliminate that possibility because his moveset would probably be pretty similar to the Gohan we have. Because I couldn't really think of what he would do differently, just in place of instead of doing Father-Son Kamehameha, it would just be a Super Kamehameha, and we already basically have that with Goku, so I don't know. So thinking of it from a lore standpoint, he's a shoo-in to get in, but think about it from a differentiating gameplay standpoint, maybe he might not. I don't know. We'll see. The 2 other possible duplicates are the duplicates of Buu. Right now we got Fat Buu, Majin Buu. I'm thinking Super Buu and Kid Buu could both have different character slots. The reason why is because both of these characters would play completely differently from Majin Buu. They also look completely different. I'm especially excited about Super Boo possibly being in the game because if he were in the game, he would probably incorporate his absorption transformations somehow. So like Piccolo Boo, Gohan Boo, Buhan, I think they like to call it in the fandom, Boo Tanks. You could make that. He could possibly be like one of those random type characters that I know Arxis likes to make, like in the form of Faust and stuff. How you do his level 3 super and he transforms into one of those 3 characters, and they both make him a different level of power or a tier set, whatever. I think they could do some really interesting stuff with Super Boo. Kid Boo would just be a straight up character. He would have his I forget what he called it, that death ball thing. He could use a Kamehameha wave. The Majin Kamehameha is a thing that is a thing, which would separate him big time from Frieza. Because you think about it, Frieza's got a death ball type move of his own, but he doesn't have a Kamehameha like a lot of the characters do. Very very possible stuff, right? And Kid Buu also is the final boss of Dragon Ball Z. I do not see him not being in the game. And if they throw him in with regular Majin Buu, then not having Super Buu in would be weird. I do believe that those are going to be characters we see in the game. I'm about 98% on this, right? If they don't make it, I'm not going to be mad. Obviously, I'm not going to play these characters. But, I won't be surprised if they announce them. So we're going to get into separate characters now. We're not going to talk about duplicates for a while, at least. I'm going to get into the notable allies that I think might make it in the game. Most of these are jobbers. All of these are jobbers, actually. Tien, Yamcha, Master Roshi, Hercule, and Videl. Basically the humans, right? I think of these, the most likely are Tien and Hercule. Because Tien he's in the current arc of Super. He's not really doing a whole lot, but he is on the team. He might make it in. He's also one of the strongest humans. So that's a possibility. Yamcha, I think if he makes it in, it's basically between Yamcha and Hercule, because both of them are essentially fulfilling the spot of joke character in the Dragon Ball Z universe. Obviously, Yamcha in kayfabe is a lot stronger than Hercule is, but he's still treated as the most jobber of the Z fighters. But Hercule, I feel like, is a shoo-in to get in, because Hercule is essentially the Dan of the Dragon Ball universe, Dan from Street Fighter. So him getting in, I think, is about a 98% sure. Tien and Yamcha, I don't think they'll both make it in. If either of them makes it in, Tien's going to make it in. Because I think if Yamcha makes it in, we won't see Adult Gohan, and if Adult Gohan makes it in, we won't see Yamcha, because both of them look similar. They just do. Just straight up. Videl, I want in the game because I would play her. I think she's possible, but I don't think she's likely. So I'm about 50% on Videl making it in. Master Roshi, he'd be cool to play, but I think there's maybe about a 20% chance he'd make it in. I don't think he's going to make it in. If he does, I'll be cool with it, but I don't think he's going to make it in. So now we got some notable enemies from Dragon Ball Z. First off, 2 from the Saiyan saga, Raditz and Nappa. I don't think either are going to make it in, to be completely honest, because I think they're really... I don't think they're, as cool as they are for their time, I don't think they're iconic enough. I think the only Saiyans we're going to see are going to be Super Saiyans, or, in Adult Gohan's case, beyond Super Saiyan. I don't think Raditz and Nappa are going to make it in. If they do make it in, I might be a little salty, because I think, wasting a character slot on one of those two might be a little... For the Frieza saga, B-tier enemies, you got Zarbon, Dodoria, the Ginyu Force. I consider Ginyu Force as one entry for a specific reason, and I think if any of these 3 make it in, I want it to be Captain Ginyu more than the other two, because Zarbon and Dodoria, I hate them. I don't think they're cool at all. I don't think anybody really likes them. I could be wrong, but I think out of anybody, those two have a very slim chance. I don't want to see them. They are an example of characters that if they make it in, if they're announced, I'll be upset. Like, legitimately, I'll be angry. I'll be like, fuck. That's a chance. There's a chance that a character I want to play won't make it in now. Fuck, you know. Ginyu Force, though, I'm thinking Captain Ginyu with maybe supers that involve the other members of the Ginyu Force, because I wouldn't want to see like a bunch of Ginyu Force. I wouldn't want to see all 5 of them make it in. I wouldn't want to see 2 of them, but only 2 of them make it in. I wouldn't want to see like it, and like if only one is going to make it in, it would have to be Captain Ginyu. He's the only truly notable force in that force. They could make they could like go right off the rails and make Captain Ginyu like an assist character in an assist-based game already. That's possible. I know, because like you got to think Arxis really likes to experiment. So I think it's a very strong possibility that the most experimental character they can go with is Captain Ginyu, and include the other members of the Ginyu Force as like his character slot somehow. I don't know. I'm not 100% on it. It's an idea. Android Saga are the androids. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. One of those, I believe, Android 20 is Dr. Giro. I don't think 19 and 20 are going to make it in. Fat Android and Dr. Giro, I don't think so. 16, I'm iffy on. If he makes it in, I won't be upset, but I don't think he's got a very strong chance. 18, I'm all but guaranteeing is going to be in the game, because she's the strongest non-Saiyan, I believe. I could be wrong, but I mean, you got to think she's the only living character of the Z fighters right now that completely bodied Super Saiyan Vegeta back in the day. And, you know, granted she's not training, but androids might not need training. You know, she's got infinite reserves of her power. She doesn't need to like train and shit, I believe. But at the same time, maybe maybe Piccolo got stronger because, you know, he can train. I don't know. That's not my point, though. Android 18, I believe 100% is making it in. That's good because I want to play her. So, great. As for what she can do, I'm not really sure. I'd say she might use Destructo Disc. They might just leave that to Krillin. I know they give Android 18 Destructo Disc in a lot of games just to kind of link those two characters together. I'm not really sure what she's going to do, but I want to see. Android 17, maybe. If they include 18, they might include 17 just for the sake of including those two, because they kind of come as a pair as far as like being included in games. Whereas 16, even though he was part of that little trinity they had, he wasn't part of the androids. You know what I mean? So I think 18 is going to make it in, and I think 17 is going to be right there with her. They might even go so far as to announce them both together. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's very likely we're going to see Android 17 and 18 in the game. The only other notable enemy who's not a high-tier enemy is Deborah. I don't want him in the game. I don't. I think it's possible he'll make it in the game because he's the only other character that fights with a sword. At least I think. I think I remember him having a sword at some point. Maybe it was just in a game that he had a sword in. I'm not super sure, because to be honest, I skipped a lot of his arc when I was like going through watching Dragon Ball Z and stuff. Never really interested me, to be honest. But I guess I wouldn't be super upset if he made it in. Not really huge on it. Something similar from the Buu saga. Fusions. The only canon fusions we have are Vegito and Gotenks. I think both of them are making it in. The reason why I think Gotenks is making it in, but not Goten or Young Trunks, is because no one really gives a fuck about Goten and Young Trunks. Goten and Young Trunks. They care about future Trunks, and for good reason, because he's cool. But the two Kid Saiyans The only notable thing they have is Gotenks. Period. I think Gotenks will make it in. I think Vegito will make it in. As far as how they think they'll work, because again, these characters have, like, Vegito's got Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2 likely as possibilities, as well as Super Saiyan Blue because of Super. Gotenks has Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 3. They could, any argument I can make for, because I don't think they'll waste more slots on fusions. I think if we're going to get these characters in the game, we're going to see both of these characters have fighting either in their Super Saiyan form and then using their level 3 as either an install or a move where they transform, then do the move, and then untransform. But who knows, really? Like, they're just possibilities. And I've said these before. These are possibilities that are already in the game. Again, Goku is Super Saiyan. He goes Super Saiyan 3 during his level 3 and then reverts back to Super Saiyan. Frieza has an install, goes Golden Frieza. Those are possibilities. But I do not think we'll get like Gotenks and then Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks as different characters. I just don't think it's going to happen. Will they utilize their base forms for Vegito? Probably not. Gotenks maybe, because he's the only character that's got like two-tone hair, so maybe. I don't know. But I do think we're going to get those two characters regardless. Now I got movie characters. These are the ones that I think are most likely, but honestly, if I'm being 100% correct, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't want any of these characters. Turles. Fuck Turles. Lord Slug. Useless. Don't care about him. Cooler. Whatever. Might as well just keep fucking, might as well just worry about Frieza. Why are you using Cooler? I don't know. Broly. I don't want Broly in. He's out. He's outplayed. Fuck him. Janemba. And then Gogeta. Probably not. Gogeta I think is cool. Don't get me wrong. But probably not. I don't think they're going to include movie characters. I really don't. As far as my argument against Broly, because isn't he like the most popular movie character? Sure. But they have a canon Broly now. Her name is Kale. Get used to her. Gonna get your ass beat by a Broly with big titties. Maybe. I think of the two, Kale is the most likely to make it in, again, because she's canon. GT characters, again, we're opening up a big-ass can of worms here. Because most of these are fucking alternate forms. Kid Goku would just be Goku, except a kid. Don't think he'll make it in. Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Of all these characters, I think Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta are the most likely. But I don't know. I think, if anything, GT will only ever be utilized as DLC, kind of like it is in Xenoverse. You got Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta in Xenoverse, but in the first Xenoverse, I believe they were DLC. I could be wrong. I don't fucking know. GT's not canon. It'd be purely fan service if they made it in, but I'm not eliminating the possibility. I won't be mad if Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta make it in. Whatever. Same as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Also a potential. If they throw in Gogeta, like regular Gogeta, then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta could be an install. Just throw in some fan service, maybe. I'm not super for it, but whatever. More GT characters. Pan, if she made it in, I wouldn't be upset. At least it'd be another female character. There's not a whole lot to choose from in Dragon Ball Z. Oob, really don't give a fuck about Oob. I'm going to be super real with you. Then the main enemies, Baby, Super Hellfighter 17, which is another alternate version of a character, 17. And then Omega Shenron. I'm going to be completely honest, I don't want any GT characters in the game, at least not at launch. You want to add them in as DLC later? Cool. But I don't want, next week, for fucking Oob to be announced. Oob is the 10th character in the game. No, fuck, no. I don't want it. Personally. Before I get into the super characters, I'm thinking another possibility. Because again, This is WaifuCast. WaifuCast was my baby as far as its name. Like, the WaifuCast name has been something I've been holding for a while. I want females in this game. There are two girls that are synonymous with the Dragon Ball series that are almost never playable. And by almost, I mean Chi-Chi was playable maybe once. Chi-Chi and Bulma. Now you're saying, okay, Chi-Chi was a fighter in Dragon Ball, but she's not a fighter. And Bulma's not a fighter. So here's what I'm thinking. Chi-Chi could just be a low-tier martial artist, similar to how Videl was. If Videl's not in the game, maybe Chi-Chi could be. Maybe they could both be in, whatever. I'm not super sold on Chi-Chi, but what I want, like probably my biggest desire for this game, other than my team that I want, which would be Caulifla, Android 18, and Videl, those are the characters that I want. But other than them, the character that I would not play but still want in this game more than anyone else is Bulma in a mech. Because this game is supposed to be the game that says "fuck you, Marvel vs. Capcom," right? It needs a mech character like Tron Bonne was. That could be Bulma riding a mech. That'd be cool. I want it to happen. Let's get into super characters. Beerus and Whis. I don't know if I want Whis to be playable in general, because Whis is, like, even though he's considered the greatest fighter in Universe 7, he's still not, I don't really see him as a fighter because he's an observer. I don't think Whis will make it in playably, but I think Beerus is almost guaranteed. Again, because not only is he a super character, but he was also in Battle of Gods. Since Golden Frieza made it in, Beerus could very likely make it in. I am 100% sure we're going to get Beerus in this game. He's popular as fuck. Let's be real. Now, super, like, exclusive characters. These characters are have never been in anything with DBZ in its name. So they weren't in Battle of Gods, they weren't in Revival of F, they weren't in any movies, they weren't in Dragon Ball Z. Okay. From the Universe 6 and 7 tournament arc, Hit and Frost, their possibilities. I think of the two of them, Hit is the most likely, because Frost just kind of strikes me as Frieza, except not as good. Like, he's a discount Frieza. I don't think Frost will make it in. I think Hit is likely. These next three are from the Goku Black arc. You got Zamasu, Goku Black, and Merged Zamasu. I kind of don't want them all to be in the game. I think Merged Zamasu would probably be my favorite to get in, because Goku Black, he's just going to be Goku. He's going to be a palette swap of Goku because he's got all the same abilities. Zamasu is going to be different, but he wasn't really super expanded upon, and anything Zamasu had and Goku Black had that were different could easily be utilized by Merged Zamasu. But I do want Merged Zamasu in. I do want a representative of that arc to make it in, and I think the most likely is the merged form. Because if we get Vegito, and if Vegito has any semblance of the Super Saiyan Blue transformation, then Merged Zamasu kind of has to be there to pair with him. Now we got the Tournament of Power arc, which is the most current arc. Still ongoing. We got Kaba, who was in the Universe 6 arc, but like I like to group these three together because they're all Saiyans. But Kaba, Kale, and Caulifla. Kaba, I think, because like the only reason I even list him is because if both Kale and Caulifla make it in, then Kaba's kind of got to, because why would he be the odd man out of the Universe 6 Saiyans? Unless they just don't know what to do with them. I don't know. But I think Kale, is definitely a possibility to get in, because she is the canon Broly. Like, she's literally Broly except canon and a chick. I think if any Universe 6 Saiyan makes it in, it's going to be Kale. The one I want in the most is Caulifla, because Caulifla is my waifu. Not my, she's great. I love her. The very and I think she's a possibility because she is the very first female Super Saiyan, and she's Super Saiyan 2. Very first, and so far only female character to go Super Saiyan 2. I want her in the game super bad. I'm about 25% sure she will make it in. I don't think she's likely, but I want her in. And lastly, Jiren. Jiren is looking to be the god of this current arc, the Tournament of Power arc. And as much as I really don't care about him, he might make it in just by the fact that he's like this badass. Although, we haven't really seen anything from him. We've seen very little about Jiren. So I think he's probably the least likely of all the baddest of asses to make it into the game. Like, because I consider Hit and Jiren on like kind of the same level of like Dragon Ball Super badassery. But I think Hit's much more likely to make it in because we've seen him do more. Also, along with Kaba, Hit has been in 2 arcs of Dragon Ball Super. So if we see any super characters, I think the most likely will be Beerus, Hit, Merge Zamasu, and KO. But again, I want Caulifla really badly. But those are the 4 characters I'm expecting from Super the most. Now, that's basically really all I have to talk about in this video. I mean, let me know what you think. Who do you think is going to make it in? Who do you want to make it in but don't think is going to make it in? Who do you want to make it in but think 100% is going to make it in? How do you think they're going to handle transformations or alternate characters? Do you think they're going to have brand new character slots? Do you think they're going to utilize some kind of groove system for certain characters? Do you think they're just going to be different outfits put in purely for fan service? Let me know. But with all that said, I'm going to go away for a while. But while you're gone, don't forget your waifu.